then I passed through him, through the person. It was possible, it was very easy. And I was standing in a landscape I'd never seen before.
Good morning!
Good morning, everybody. I'm Zala.
And I'm Sitara, and this is the youth radio from Graz MultiCulti 06.
Azok újtok. Sok szerencsét. Köszönöm szépen. Köszönöm szépen. A Wiedersehen.
And you have space and time. Yeah? This is not creating space, this noise. Yeah? This is destroying space. Yeah? This is destroying space. But this is providing space. Yeah? And even silence is providing space. If you go to the forest, yeah, or to a mountain and you have no noise, you have an immediate experience of space.
Early autumn, sunshine and a field of grain.
A cornfield,
Yeah.
and I see every star.
To have space means to be free and not to be anxious. Yeah, you put your hand here. So, I'm anxious. Yeah, angustia. And angustia is if a valley always becomes smaller. So, you are going into a very small tunnel, or the mountains are coming smaller and smaller, and you have no space. You are anxious.
Just sitting and doing nothing and looking to them, and they look disgusting. So, and I earned 60 cents.
It wasn't so easy as I think it would be. I'm full of emotions because it's very impressive when everybody is staring at you and you don't have any power, you know, you're just there sitting and you are thinking, what are they thinking about me?
So this registration in Bavaria was already sort of quite a good preparation for the Nazi persecution. And the second thing was that some people studied not only the Roma history but also the Roma language. So there was one lady, Eva Justin, who knew well the Sinti Dikes, the Romanes of the Sinti and Romanes, and or Romani, I should say in English, and she catched many of them, and they had a very, very bad luck in the lager, and still nobody knows how many Roma were killed in the lager, because you know the Jews had their property and their, I don't know, insurance or their bank accounts and things like that, and the Roma never had anything like that, because there were always also rich Roma, but they always had their property with them. and it was gold. It was mostly gold coins.
Also mir persönlich gefällt sie sehr gut. Ich weiß nicht, wie das für Sie ist. Ja, also ich finde sie ganz toll. Vor allem, also was mir am besten gefällt, ist wirklich die Kuppel. Ja. Also die ist wirklich ganz wunderbar. Und sie ist 5-teilig und beinhaltet die 5 Bücher Mose aus dem Alten Testament.
This var represents the finger of God. It's parashat in Hebrew. In English it's Genesis. And the second was it's a Shemot in Hebrew, and in English it's a Exodus. And every Jew also must pray 3 times a day.
Ich war heute diesen Tag. Also der Mann hat nur geredet und geredet und wir... Doc Martens zum Beispiel, diese Stiefel, die tragen das, um zu zeigen, also weiß und schwarz vertragen sich miteinander, aber in der rechten Szene heißt es halt, die Weißen sind die Herrenrasse. Also es hat unterschiedliche Bedeutungen. Ich meine, deswegen muss man bei Symbolik auch aufpassen. Die Symbolik alleine sagt noch nicht wirklich viel aus. Aber es geht eben gerade bei diesen Gruppen, die das versuchen, darum, über die Symbolik Leute dann zu einer bestimmten Szene zu bringen, vor allem auch über die Musik. Es ist ganz klar, was das bedeutet, Anstellung im Gruppenkopf SS. Also das war der Teil der SS, der für die KZ-Aufsicht verantwortlich war. Zum Beispiel war eine dieser Aufgaben. Combat 18 steht für Adolf Hitler, also Kampfgruppe Adolf Hitler. Die sind in Großbritannien, Permanenzwerk bis jetzt gibt es in Österreich noch keine Entsprechung. Das ist also eher für Bierzeltatmosphäre, dann richtet sich also nicht ans Kindheits. Aber ist oft der Anfang dann für härtere Musik später.
All the workshops about apocalyptic, end-of-days motifs in Hollywood movies. In all religions, there are typical structures of the end of days. What's about the fight between good and evil, kinds of messiahs, satans, devils, and we try to rediscover these structures in the modern Hollywood movies, especially in Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. And as we can find out, there are many parallel motifs in the films, in both films, and parallel to typical religious motifs.
Die Weltherrschaft über Medien zu bekommen. Der Gedanke ist nicht absurd, ja, weil dahinter steht die Erkenntnis, dass Medien Macht haben, Meinung zu bilden und Meinung zu beeinflussen. Der Nationalsozialismus konnte wahrscheinlich deswegen sich so weit ausbreiten, quer über Europa, weil er mit den Instrumenten der Massenkommunikation gespielt hat.
Because theater is images, is not only words, but it's also images.
The important thing was that every interpretation of every image was right. We were just collecting topics.
Hello, good man. Well, may I ask you for a cigarette, please?
Cigarette?
Yes, could you give me one, please?
Oh, you really want mine?
Yes, one of your cigarettes.
One of my cigarette? I don't think so that you get anything in this country. Like only this, I don't know.
What are you doing to me? Oh, please, leave me alone. What are you doing? Leave him alone, please. Leave him alone. Leave him alone.
Baby, do you want to?
Wenn man jetzt, weil wo wir mit Zivilcourage und wo wir es halt brauchen, ist vor allem so Jugendliche bei uns, so rechte Gruppen gibt es. Und wenn die dann, ich weiß nicht, einen umkexen irgendwie so oder zusammenschlagen, wenn man da noch was sagt, dann muss man das mit der Bestimmtheit und ganz sicher sagen, weil sonst kann es nicht tun oder man wird selber verarscht.
Und deswegen auch der Mut zur Gemeinsamkeit. Sich als Gesellschaft begreifen, wo Leute zusammenhalten müssen und sich gegenseitig helfen müssen und sich voneinander interessieren müssen. Und ich mache mein Ding und bleibe für mich.
Aber privat habe ich auch schon nur wenn ich auf der Straße war und ich bin privat irgendwo hingefahren oder bin vom Einkaufen zurückgekommen, die legen so eine Art, so eine Selbstverständlichkeit und so ein Selbstbewusstsein an den Tag. Das macht, sagen wir mal, ein normaler, ein Deutscher, Österreicher, wie auch immer, macht das nicht. Also ich habe mich da selber, ich hab mich belästigt gefühlt und das war zweimal.
She's not Filipino. She comes from Slovenia, from Istria, and she's studying in Ljubljana, in the second year of medicine. She's living there with two friends in Track, and she really likes music and dancing. She likes also sports, but she's a bit lazy.
May I ask you for your feelings when you had to deal with the monocultural situation, being the trees, being the suns, the clouds? What was it like? Would you act much differently in your own cultural context? So not giving a simulated culture, but your own culture. Would there be any difference? No. No?
As doing this job, standing out here, is not to be the one who decides, but to let the people decide, to make it possible for them to decide where to put their idea. You know? So, and we can link that also on the board. You know, it's just a thing. So what you like more recreational activities, so sports and games. Now we have also to have a check. You know, I sit back now and say to you, well, you think, is there something else that we could put together? Does it make sense to move some cards?
I think we have to either move some of these stuff across or think of better names.
If the answer is yes, according to your role, you have to do a step forward. Otherwise, if the answer on the statement is no, you have to go backwards. You know where to turn for advice and help if you need. You have never felt discriminated against because of your origin.
You can go away on holiday once a year. You have an interesting life and you are positive about your future.
I'm a soldier in the army doing compulsory military service.
Basically, the Roma believe in God. They even greet with God, and they have their customs which really have to be followed. That means if somebody dies, then there is a big convention, and then everybody comes, and there is a kind of little quasi altar, you know, where the candles are, it's bread, around bread, and there's the mother or the husband of mourning, and then there are big tables, and they're all Roma, and they eat and drink, and it's a kind of festival.
In the year of 2003, we had been upstairs on the mountain, and it was the Dalai Lama, His Excellency, together with a lot of bishops of all religions here in Austria. And it was a wonderful moment for me. I think it was the best moment in the year 2003 when we have been the culture capital of Europe. We prayed together to God, and all the bishops take their hands and they prayed with us. Maybe it was a great moment for Graz, and I hope it will be the future of Europe and all over the world.
Und die Muslime begrüßen sich untereinander mit Assalamu alaikum. Sehr gut. Alaikum salam. Und bedeutet auf Deutsch Frieden sei mit ihnen oder sei mit dir. Und Islam hat 5 Säulen und die erste Säule ist Ash-Shahada, also das Glaubensbekenntnis. Und das Glaubensbekenntnis lautet Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ich bezeuge, dass es keinen Gott gibt außer Allah und dass Muhammad sein Gesandter ist. Wenn sie diese Shahada ausspricht, sie muss oder er muss verneinen, dass Jesus der Sohn von Gott ist.
But who is this God? What we saw is that he created the world in a high diversity. So in his generosity, in his greatness, he gave, you see, everybody is different. 6 milliards of people living now and the centuries before. So this is an immense quantity of special additions from this one human being. So this is, if God is only one idea and one, he is the plenitude, diversity in himself, but he's one God. So out of love, he can make so many differences. And the difference is the base for communication. And he created man as man and woman, for example. So there you find also this dialogical moment. We are not alone, we are created for communication.
3, 2, 1. Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Super. Das ist die erste Idee. Ja, von dir. So, jetzt wollen wir. Was ist eine Idee von dir?
Gute Laune, witzige
Fertig. Los. So. Ich bin klüger geworden. Ja? Auf die Plätze. Fertig. Los.
My first idea is always talking about the political integration, the kind of bringing different countries together, which is also a kind of integration. And when I'm talking about integration in the European Union, then I have to talk about a European Union that started with just 6 countries, and now we have 25 countries, and quite a lot of countries who want to join the European Union.
The basic problem is when you look at the set of values typical for a country, and in particular for the process where Turkey is in at the moment. You can say either, well, if and when we take Turkey on board, we can make sure that our European values will in the end prevail there as well. That's the optimistic way of looking at it. Or you can look at it the other way and say, well, they still don't fit.
Next thing we do is to get to know us even better than don't knowing each other. We will now make pairs, and you have to take someone you never talked with this week. So, choose. Just look in each other's eyes for 5 minutes, or 2 or 3 minutes. And you think about the other one. So, we start.
Wir haben das Thema erstmal angegangen, generell über Frage als Hausarbeit oder Haushaltsarbeit als eine typische Frauenarbeit und werden jetzt dann eigentlich weiter fragen, wie kommt es, dass das zu einer typischen migrantischen Arbeit geworden ist? Also zunächst, es sind Frauenarbeiten, es sind Arbeiten, wo es um Schmutz geht und dann aber auch, es ist in der Privatsphäre, im geschützten Haus, unsichtbar, unbezahlt gemacht. Und eine Teilnehmerin hat schon quasi die Familie dazu gezeichnet und diese als Migrantinnen interpretiert, während die Familie hier ihr Leben führt, putzt und kocht die. Dass Frauen aufgrund dessen quasi zur Hausarbeit bestimmt sind. And she talked about the hormones, that there are special hormones relating a mother to her child, and that men don't have the same way, she says.
Women or white people say that women can do a lot of things or smaller things, and men are just focusing on something special, like jobs. And I was answering her that there are a lot of scientifically theories that women are, from evaluation and biology, much more built to protect themselves and their families, and men are much more builder, because from biology they had to hunt these big animals, and they had to go together to hunt them and not alone. But women have to protect their children because the nature and the whole world is relying on the women. If they don't get children and if they don't try to protect them and to grow them up, everything is gone.
Okay, I think that's enough. What we're doing now is we talk to each other.
Man tut strukturell zumindest die Möglichkeit eröffnen, dass Misshandlung und Ausbeutung Tür und Tor geöffnet wird. Also ich bin sehr wohl für Regelungen, aber nicht so, wie die momentan von Migrationsgesetzen gesprochen wird, die halt zutiefst restriktiv sind. Aber dann restriktiv dennoch so, dass die Menschen als Ware zugunsten der Gesellschaft betrachtet werden und behandelt werden.
And the point is that concerning integration, the responsibility is in the hand of the nation, in the hand of national countries, and not in the hand of the European Union.
We think somehow that the people, the migrants, or this group of these illegal people
are some kind of a hard stone for the state. They don't have anything, or their business is not here in the state. And our primary thought is that we want these people out of the country as soon as possible.
Maybe we should give them a better conditions of life so they don't have to, I don't know, steal something or do whatever, some crimes, so they don't have to go to prison, and so we don't have this problem.
Make some new rules or some kind of change the law of our country, it would be very, very expensive. So that's why it is much, much more easier to some kind of deport these people and leave them where they came from.
You can't take jobs illegalized people do and give them to your citizens or whatever, because I don't think they want to do it. That's why we have those people here.
This is not a very good answer, but it's the only one I can give. Europe is always a club of self-protection. Those that are in are better than those that are out. It was always that way. We might want to change that, but it will take a long time. Let me just say that very simply.
Nevertheless, we have this Charter of Fundamental Rights, and the member states have to fulfill these fundamental rights, and this is also important for integration. And the European Union goes even further. Besides giving some kinds of statements from the European Council, for example, we have a very important statement from the European Council of Tampere that says this integration is necessary, that we have to do integration, and that the nation states have to do everything to get the people integrated in their societies.
Der Verein der Naida ist ein Frauenverein. Er heißt auch Bildung und Treffpunkt für Frauen. Und schwerpunktmäßig unterrichten wir Deutsch als Fremdsprache für Migrantinnen. Also wir haben verschiedene Kursangebote, und das Besondere an unserem Kursangebot ist, dass wir begleitend Kinderbetreuung parallel zu den Kursen eben anbieten und damit also Frauen gewinnen können, die sehr kleine Kinder haben und die ansonsten Probleme hätten, überhaupt einen Deutschkurs besuchen zu können, weil sie eben nicht so flexibel sind.
So, das ist hier. Amerika.
Unsere Kurse werden von sehr vielen Migrantinnen gerne besucht. Schwerpunktmäßig haben wir also vor allem Türkinnen, Ägypterinnen, aber es sind natürlich auch alle anderen Länder vertreten.
Das, was da in Slowenien und Graz war, das war schon ein bisschen so in Richtung Jugendbegegnung. Gell? Und bei Jugendbegegnung geht es eben um Hemmschwellen abzubauen, um verschiedenste Sachen, oder wie arbeiten die verschiedenen Länder, die verschiedenen Gruppen zusammen, das irgendwie zusammenzubringen auf ein gemeinsames Ziel dann.
Und dass da eben jeder Verein, also so wirklich, weiß nicht nur ein Stand, sondern so wirklich ein mit also weiß nicht, ein Fußballverein, ein Beachvolleyballverein und so. Und das auch vielleicht sogar das Event selber mit dem Asylanten planen.
Wenn ihr das schafft, dass ihr eigentlich 100% durch dieses EU-Budget abdeckt, ist es super. Dann könntest du zum Beispiel ein Workshopleiter sein und den behinderten Jugendlichen oder den benachteiligten Jugendlichen als Coach dienen.
Da steht drinnen, ob benachteiligte Jugendliche auch profitieren.
Dann da sind die Organisationen einfach drinnen, welche Organisationen gibt es, wenn es eine Organisation gibt. Oder wenn ihr jetzt nur eine Gruppe seid, dann nennt ihr euch eine Gruppe, also jetzt habe ich zum Beispiel eine Gruppe mit einer Zahl dahinter ein Projekt eingereicht. Man kann sie irgendwie nennen. Das ist nicht so tragisch. Und das Wichtige ist die Projektbeschreibung.
George lived by the shore of a river. Abigail lived on the other side of the river. She had fallen in love with George. The river between them was full of man-eating crocodiles.
Der Fluss zwischen den beiden wimmelte von menschenfressenden Krokodilen.
So Abigail went to Sinbad, the captain of a ferry, and asked him to take her over the river. He said he would be pleased to do so if she was ready to sleep with him before he took her over the river. She refused on the spot.
Abigail ging zu einer Freundin namens Vana, um ihr das Dilemma zu erklären.
But Vana did not want to cope with the thing at all.
And tomorrow we decided that we design a newsletter. They made a design for a newsletter and they are going to put it together so we can present it on Saturday.
Template.
And we start with the picture. But everybody wants to start with the
Yeah, maybe another one.
Okay?
I can read it after.
I think
Some words instead of a catchphrase.
Okay.
Put in Latin.
Okay. Fotonagel. At the couch, or we got some good pictures of him doing the speech with the microphone.
Yeah.
And we got a couple of good pictures of the couch.
I think the microphone, right? So, and then we have some learning outcomes, what they have learned over the week. That's as far as we got. And on the back we can put contact us or something.
So-called natural listings, but these are Google ads who are very often looked at. Okay? There's a blue banner more or less. Yeah? This is not natural listings. This is basically what you can do for search engine optimization, and from my point of view, only Google is interested. So if I think people are looking at multiculti with pay, then I need to write it in the text pretty often. Then Google will show it.
Abigail was convinced that her only possibility was to fulfill the conditions of Sinbad. Sinbad fulfilled his promise and passed her on into the arms of George. When Abigail told George about her trip, which she had undertaken in order to get near to him, George pushed her away in disdain. Again at home, sad and depressive, Abigail turned with her story to Paolo. Paolo was sorry for her, was sorry for Abigail, went to George and beat him up. When the sun sets on the horizon, so in the evening, we hear that Abigail laughs. Laugh, She laughs. She's laughing.
Ja.
Wie wäre es, jemand anderer zu sein? Und die Übung wird jetzt die Sophie anleiten.
Und das ist genau dieses Detail, was sich jetzt geändert hat. Ein Beispiel wäre zum Beispiel, dass auf dem Zettel steht, du kommst aus der Ukraine. Und wir haben hier so einen Fragebogen und zunächst geht es darum, sich mal für sich selbst zu überlegen, was würde sich konkret ändern, nachdem diese kleine Veränderung eingetreten ist.
Senegalesen. Aber und meine Eltern sind irgendwie die gleichen, das heißt, sie sind Südtiroler, aber weiß. Deshalb muss man sich irgendwie vorstellen, dass ich adoptiert bin. Wenn ich so denke, in unserer Straße, ich würde schwarz sein, dann hätte ich sicher Freunde auch, die schwarz sind. Weil man spricht sich dann eher an, denke ich mir. Und dann würden die Leute sensibilisiert dafür werden, weil mich kennen sie eigentlich alle schon in unserer Straße und wir sind dann in einem Dorf und da ist alles vertraut und da glaube ich, wäre ich auch miteinander vertraut, auch wenn ich schwarz wäre. The crime goes up and many negative things are come because there are many rich and many poor people.
Then we have to introduce some mechanisms, some institutions, some system which is balancing that, especially how we can come to a system where the differences are not so big, or we have a kind of ethic control of, for example, mass media, for which is a sustainable economic growth, and what is preventing poverty?
Wie hoch schätzt ihr sozusagen so ein Durchschnittseinkommen in Österreich oder Deutschland? Ihr kommt aus der Slowakei? Ganz massive Unterschiede.
1500 Plätze.
1200. 60% ist davon, also für Österreich, ja, ausgerannt, sind 850 Euro. Das nennen wir sozusagen die sogenannte Armutsgefährdungsgrenze.
Bei uns im Dorf, weil die Leute da arm sind, verteilen wir dann Essen für meinen Vater. Macht man dann so bei uns. Pro Haus. Und dann sind wir zur Schule gegangen, dann sind da so Kinder gewesen. Dann hatten wir so diese Tetrapacks, so das zu trinken, ja. Das hatten wir. Und dann sind die zu uns gelaufen, wo die uns gesehen haben. Und dann haben wir es denen gegeben und die wussten nicht, wie die das aufmachen sollen, also wie die es trinken sollten mit dem Strohhalm und so wussten die nicht. Also haben sie nie im Leben getrunken, also Kinder. So, dann haben wir denen das gezeigt und so und dann haben wir es getrunken. Also das ist so ein perfektes Beispiel für mich. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Wenn du mich jetzt siehst, jeden Tag bete, habe ich einen so großen Bart, gehe ich nach Mekka, mache ich das und das, vielleicht bei Allah bin ich ein schlechter Mensch. Arafat. Und dies heißt Arafat, weil Arafat kommt von Wort kennenlernen. Und Adam und Eva, die haben sich kennengelernt hier.
And you have it even in the recorder in the car. If you put a good music into the car, in the radio, and you drive, then you have this feeling of driving in space, and time and space are connected. That's wonderful, a wonderful thing. Yeah? But it's strategically and psychologically, it's the same feeling with the church bells. My time of the year is late autumn at the seaside. Storm and rain. Yeah, storm and rain. I go out to the seaside and I stand in the storm and the rain. Yeah.
You see, there's one aim we have, and I think we can manage it together. Peace in Europe.
We have choice of what we do for each of us as individuals.
Listen, yo, life is very hard. You better try very hard so you can do something in your life. 1, 2, 3, go! Yeah.
It was no work for me, honestly. I mean, I'm just thanks team, but it was not my work, it was you, and only you. Okay, thank you.
That there are a lot of people coming in, but maybe I'll just proceed so we'll be fine.
We love you. We're from England, and we just want to say peace to the nation.
I think France will win, so I write it here. Write it down. Okay, France will win.
Jews, Muslims and Christians a place for encounter. Their aim is to offer young people the chance to develop their personalities according to competence and taking on responsibility. I say thank you to all the people who were here tonight on stage.
Useful, with some inspiration, some guidance and coordination. Don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me? Don't you wish your girlfriend was a freak like me? Don't you?
Thank you very much.
All the workshops about apocalyptic, end-of-days motifs in Hollywood movies. In all religions, there are typical structures of the end of days. What's about the fight between good and evil, kinds of messiahs, satans, devils. And we try to rediscover these structures in modern Hollywood movies, especially in Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. And as we can find out, there are many parallel motifs in both films, and parallel to typical religious motifs.
What?
You lost your teacher?
No, I haven't.
You have any teacher?
Yes,
Yes?
probably.
Just sitting and doing nothing and looking to them, and they look disgusting. So, and I earned 60 cents.
It wasn't so easy as I think it would be. I'm full of emotions because it's very impressive when everybody is staring at you and you don't have any power, you know, you're just there sitting and you are thinking, what are they thinking about me?
Wir haben uns das alles eigentlich gar nicht so vorgestellt, sondern wir haben eigentlich sehr viel Wert darauf gelegt, dass die ganzen Workshops nicht langweilig werden.
America. Brazilian, so gross.
Good morning!
Good morning, everybody. I'm Zala.
And I'm Sitara, and this is the youth radio from Graz MultiCulti 06.
Muito bom. Çok szerencsét. Köszönöm szépen. Köszönöm szépen.
This is not a very good answer, but it's the only one I can give. Europe is always a club of self-protection. Those that are in are better than those that are out. It was always that way.
Und die Muslime begrüßen sich untereinander mit Assalamu alaikum. Sehr gut. Alaikum salam. Und bedeutet auf Deutsch Frieden sei mit ihnen oder sei mit dir.
Basically, the Roma believe in God. They agree with God, and they have their customs which really have to be followed. That means if somebody dies, then there's a big convention.